Hello.
Hey everybody, it's your boy Chris, and welcome back to the Off-Air Podcast. Sorry for the little hiatus we had. We have been off the air for the past 2 weeks, and due to a few different issues with us going on personally. Nothing between John and I, just other stuff.
Chris cheated on me.
What?
Hey guys, it's John.
Yeah, with me as always is John.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah.
As always, it's always great to hear back from the community, including reviews.
Yeah.
We
2 stars on Uber Eats.
Yeah.
Where the fuck is my food?
By Minge Dinger, whatever.
Oh wait. We had an actual review.
Yeah, by Minge Dinger.
Okay.
Yeah. And he says, "Where the fuck is my food? Otherwise, great commentary."
Wait. I didn't know about this. Is this someone I had to put in the description?
No.
Okay.
I just made it up.
Minge Dinker. All right, I like it. I hope it's not an actual name you stole from one of your friends from various other podcasts going on. Okay.
If there is, I'm sorry.
But we've had a few things going on these past 2 weeks.
I mean, yeah. Let me just.
It's a crazy hurricane season for one right now, all over the southeast.
Stop, please. I don't want to talk about it.
Not yet. You don't.
No, I've been trying to avoid it all week, and yet I've been going crazy, and you guys noticed it.
Yeah. You keep on sending us messages from various updates on the Weather Channel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Various flooding across the eastern U.S.
All right. Let me let me get into it.
Sure.
All
Just
right.
get out of the way
So
before we can get into other stuff.
today is July 12th,
Right.
2019.
Friday. Yeah.
2019.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, hurricane season during Florida started in June, but the peak season is around July and August.
Right. Yeah. This is really where it rolls in.
This is where
around
we
this
have.
time.
This is where
In
we
fact,
have.
we're just getting started. I'm afraid.
Yeah,
This is the scariest part.
we just got started technically.
I
Well,
don't want it.
The reason why it starts out in June is because that's where you get prepared.
Yeah.
I believe
Yeah.
they have a week during June where it's tax-free weekend for
Yeah.
hurricane supplies.
Precisely. Yeah. I remember working in retail at Ace. It was like a whole thing. Especially because. No, never mind. I was trying to think if I was working there back when Irma hit, but no, that was not the case. I was not working there at the time. But
back when
yeah.
I was working at the auto store, I was going through basically the profit for the week of August because I was actually one of the retail coordinators, making sure we're selling the right amount of products.
right.
And then basically I was telling the company I can't compete with August of last year, which technically would have been it would have been 2018 comparing to 2017's August season, which was
When Irma hit, yeah.
Irma, Maria, and Harvey.
Yeah, so to think like
Profits were 200% up in the roof.
of course people needed it.
Yeah.
People were panicked, especially Tampa didn't get hit that hard, but like people lost power. And I mean Miami got hit really hard, and further south, of course. But
the main products we sold were basically battery converters, batteries,
mhm.
and I believe it was generators. My main warehouse in Tampa actually sold basically nearly 400 generators in 2 days.
That's insane.
And then,
Whoa.
yeah, and then they're like, no one can compete with that. I hope you know that.
No way.
We were telling the main headquarters, like, we can't do this. You guys can't penalize us.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like that's a funny area, like with those types of areas of retail, like in with that season, is that there's not something you even. Of course, it's good for the company if they sell, but that's bad for the community if it sells, because that means that we're in a state of crisis.
Yeah. I remember during that week of Irma, like the week before it.
Yeah.
I'm like, I gotta get water early.
Dude, do you remember the lines to get into literally anywhere to get water?
Well, no, as soon as like, hey, it's targeting Tampa, within an hour, all the water's gone.
I'm pretty sure like someone in my family or like someone's coworker like stole one of the large like 5-gallon jugs they use for like well water jugs. They stole one of those from an office. Yeah. 5 gallons is a lot of water.
I went to a Family Dollar and they're like, there's none here. As I'm walking out, one of the coworkers like, one of the guys like, hey, listen, we got the truck now.
Mm-hmm.
Give me like 5 minutes. As soon as he said that, I got in line, grabbed 3, and a packet of Neosporin. Why? Because I was refueling my med kit at home.
All right, but yeah, they had to regulate the sales of that. But even so, I mean that's in the past. Hopefully we don't get anything so bad this year.
Well,
I mean it's looking okay for Florida so far. So far, aside from being extremely hot, like unusually hot, getting a lot of heat warnings and heat waves.
Right.
As far as precipitation, it's been a fairly normal summer so far.
Yeah.
Fairly normal season.
Although the scattered storms have an intent, it's basically fairly normal for Florida.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I'm gonna have to say this. Imagine back in high school when we had to do all the math, all the basically reading. You don't understand it, and basically they told you, hey, just throw the book at the wall. You'll figure it out eventually.
Mr. Price.
Well, unfortunately, this year
it's an Alonzo reference.
Unfortunately, this year, as soon as the first major storm was announced, I'm reading all the information, all the graphics, all the predictions.
Right.
I didn't just throw the book at the wall. I just threw it out into the trash because it doesn't matter at this point. I'm gonna say this because this storm, technically it's tropical cyclone Barry.
What? Okay.
It's a cyclone. They're calling it a cyclone.
No, I understand. That's just not terminology we're used to as a tropical cyclone, at least.
Tropical
here.
storm, tropical cyclone. Yeah.
A cyclone is just the next level of a storm. That's something that's along the lines of a hurricane or tornado.
It's at borderline category 1, but they're not announcing it.
I see. But it's going in that direction where we're seeing something more powerful brewing.
Most storms for Florida, the ones that we get, are brewed out in the Atlantic near Africa.
Right.
Because Africa, Sahara Desert, right next to the water, very dangerous.
Right. Normally it'll arch around, go through the Caribbean before it hits us, especially in the Bay Area, since it has to go through the Gulf.
Right. Unfortunately, this year we had a lot of tornadoes up in the Midwest.
Oh yeah.
So there's a line of thunderstorm, basically the area of pressure up in Alabama.
Right.
That pressure for some reason moved all the way south, actually to the Gulf. And basically, it, like I said, when I said you're throwing out the book, this storm does not follow any of the rules. Because they went to the Gulf. How I basically describe, basically you leave work, you go pick up groceries, and then you go back home to wreck shit.
Yeah.
Because before the storm even formed, New Orleans was already on the flash flood warning.
Right.
They're about a foot underwater. The rivers are basically already at their max before the storm even hits.
Right.
And this morning I just read 2 of the brand new water pumps are not even functioning for the city.
Right.
So it's not even at full capacity to even handle a storm.
But
already they're not using tropical warning. They're using hurricane warnings for flooding and surge.
It's nuts.
And
to be expecting that kind of level of damage.
It's already here's the thing. The city's already crippled. We're just waiting for the final blow at this point. The storm should hit tomorrow on July 13th around 6 a.m.
Yeah.
The one issue is it's a slow-moving storm, so it's going to do even more damage. Like I said, it's literally the beginning of July.
Yeah. We're only 2 weeks in, just about.
And I'm going on vacation in August.
Good luck, man. Really, I wish you the best of luck.
I talked to my family and I'm like, you guys are fucking insane.
Yeah.
Because I just realized it's insane that we're going in August on a cruise in the Gulf.
I couldn't make or break it. It might work out. It might not. Like.
I already told my family just pack the nauseous pills.
Get C-bands. You know what those are?
Yeah, I know what they are.
Yeah.
No, it's for them.
Oh.
because I have a stronger stomach, and for some reason I have a great sense of orientation.
Mm.
So I guess I'm less likely to get seasick
You got sea legs.
I got them sea legs.
All that stuff comes pretty cheap though. You can find it, just like at Walmart or pharmacy or whatever.
Hell, if last minute,
maybe even a gas station. Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure, absolutely. Just might be a little bit more expensive. How that goes. The whole thing. Actually, it doesn't always work out that way. Varying on brand deals that. What cruise line are you going with? Is it Carnival or Norwegian?
Carnival.
Okay. So Carnival, they have a lot of brand deals. Due to that, I guess for some reason, they must get commission or something. Because some of the brands that carry certain products that carry, their market price. That's one thing I realized. So when I bought my GoPro, the latest one, the Hero 7 Black.
Right.
I bought it off Amazon, right, with my whole setup. And I bought it right on the time. I ordered it actually right before I went on the cruise. Little did I know, they were selling Hero 7 Blacks on the cruise at market price. Actually cheaper than what I got on Amazon because I got it in a pack that came with the the micro SD and adapter and all that.
Right.
They had a kit that was like $10 cheaper. Yeah, I never would have expected that on a cruise.
Well, yeah, because it's like back then when you used to go on vacation, those rest stops always sold the disposable cameras.
Yeah.
They know they're not making money, but at the end,
no, they sell.
They sell.
Yeah.
But now
especially the waterproof ones. But I mean, it's again, it's 2019. People have waterproof. Yeah.
My phone is water lined. It's water resistant. It's not waterproof.
Yeah, and even then there's like waterproof cases. People have life-proof cases, or there's even like specific cases to take photos with your phone at a beach. There's it's like a lanyard. Yeah, Angel has one.
Yeah.
It's like a little bag that you put on that you put your phone in. There's a lot of ways to get around that. People don't really buy disposable cameras anymore. Mostly, I guess, old people. That was
one of the examples back then.
But yeah, back in the day, that was one thing that would definitely sell a lot when people were on vacation. Nowadays, it's other things like mostly storage. SD cards, micro SDs. So people sell those everywhere, even if you go to like an island.
I also noticed, depending on what you're buying the storage for, they mark up the pricing.
Oh, for sure.
Like buying the storage for the Switch, those SD cards are expensive.
Yeah, they're actually more expensive than getting one for a camera.
Yeah, I just bought a regular one for 128 gigs.
Mm-hmm.
It works the same. It's just they have to reformat.
Yep. That's how they get you.
Yeah.
That's funny too, because I don't know, Nintendo was never like one company that was kind of like notorious at all for having specific products that that can't match with other like general formats. They're one company that has always been pretty adaptable. Like for example, Microsoft was one that they used to be notorious for that. Arguably still is, but people have just come to accept it. But remember back with like the Xbox 360, how those controllers would just eat up batteries for breakfast, and how much it was to get the rechargeables or get the battery packs or the chargers for the controllers that you can buy from Microsoft. In fact, Microsoft was even selling batteries. You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were selling their own batteries just for that. That they were trying to integrate so many things into this one product. And Apple was one that's always been notorious for that, for having their own chargers and constantly changing them every few generations.
I believe there's a College Humor video for that.
Exactly. Even now, so like these Power Beats I got, they use the Thunderbolt charger that you use on an iPhone. But something I realized recently that in fact I saw and I'm like, this can't be real. It was at Angel and Joey's house because they had Angel has an iPad Air.
Yeah.
Apparently, or not the iPad Air, or like is it? I don't know if it's the iPad Air or the Apple Pencil. I don't really know.
The stencil.
Yeah, basically, Apple has a tablet now that uses a Type-C micro USB charger.
Right.
I never thought I'd see the day I would see an Apple micro USB charger, but it exists. It's real. It blew my mind when I saw them. Like, there's no way they're actually adapting to this.
I believe.
Can you imagine if the next iPhone has a micro USB Type C charge? We won. We won.
Well, calm your horses. Because I remember back, I forgot what. I remember there was a lawmaker that is like, hey, listen, there's like 60 different chargers for all the phones we got.
Yeah, and then there's also like the dongles. For if you want to have an audio jack for your iPhone or the various dongles on the Mac.
Every time I see a USB, I believe it was Type A.
Mm-hmm. Back in the day, I
always get reminded of the Motorola Edge.
Yeah, no, that's what it was. It was a big square one. I have one laying around. In fact, my old GoPro still used it. The Hero 4.
Right.
I think they stopped using those like back in 2015.
Yeah, because I remember also the PS3 controllers using.
Yep, they did. Yeah, the Type A chargers, and then we moved on to Type B, like just a year later, and even then, those only stick around for maybe 3-4 years, and now we're at Type C, and you see them on everything now.
I believe they're more
Nintendo.
efficient.
Yeah, absolutely. They're much more power efficient. They're more durable.
Yeah.
Nintendo uses them. Samsung uses them, and now Apple is even using them. So it's like, whoa, this is really standard now, and we might be able to see it become even more common. Well, Apple's really the only one. Every other company is using them now, whether it be for gaming or for phones. For cameras, GoPro uses them. DJI uses them.
Yeah.
I think the only companies that won't do that as far as tech are cameras, such as like, DSLRs like Canon and because they use external batteries that need their own chargers. But I think those chargers are Type C based anyway. So technically they're using them, but also not because it's external batteries.
The DSLR for my camera at home is actually a slow trickle one.
Oh, really?
So it extends the battery life much longer.
Yeah, there's also battery packs. That's the whole thing with cameras, that they need external batteries that can be replaced because those things just eat it up. Even the GoPros have their own external batteries you can replace.
Even though I didn't use my camera in professional settings, I have like 2 extra batteries in the bag, fully charged all the time.
That's like standard protocol for any person using a camera, whether you're taking photos or videos.
I think the most I'm actually I think I added like, I forgot how many gigs for that camera.
Yeah.
Because the resolution I put out in that camera eats up memory.
Yeah, man. Yeah, exactly. Like, if you're using a camera, if you're taking photos or videos with a DSLR or anything above that, even anything below that, even people that are getting really serious about phone cameras, which I'm going to get into that for a second because I have some news about this one company I really want to talk about. But if you're taking photos or videos, you need to have extra power and extra storage all the time. People carry around external hard drives and extra SD cards, extra batteries, extra chargers, battery packs for whatever they're using. And so what I was to say is phone cameras are getting more and more powerful, obviously, far more than what they were before. Now they're even competing with the likes of DSLRs in the sense of the quality they can put out as far as resolution and frame rate and those basic elements. And so there's a company called Moment, great company. What they do is that they actually design lenses you can attach to your camera, to your phone camera, whether it be Apple or Samsung, or I think they also make them for maybe Google for the Pixel phones.
Yeah, I've seen those. I had a cousin actually has a fisheye lens that he just clips it on and that's it.
Well, there are a few knockoff ones, but Moment, what they do is it's pretty pricey, but they're really high. It's really high quality, like professional quality stuff that they use. And in order to use their lenses, you have to have their case, which are good. They're good cases. They're all made with high quality materials, whether it be wood, leather, or metal. And silicon, of course, just for flexibility. But they're really durable cases, and they're all adaptable to whatever lens you might buy from them. And they have like a wide angle lens, a zoom lens, and an anamorphic lens, which I thought was extremely revolutionary. So an anamorphic lens, that normally runs like several thousands of dollars, and they're normally only used on like $30,000-$50,000 cinema cameras like the Red or the Arri Alexa, something of that upper echelon, like Hollywood quality cameras.
Yeah, I remember Corridor Digital breaking down the whole anamorphic and all the other types of lenses.
Exactly.
Since they also got a 3D printer, they also thought, why can't we just try to replicate one of the lenses, which they replicated a anamorphic. It was brittle, but the thing is, the quality, you couldn't even tell the difference between the high quality and low quality ones.
That's pretty impressive. That's really impressive because that's some really detailed and expensive glass to make those things. That, and it automatically has that cinematic crop, that 13% top and bottom, the black bars. And now they also Moment made one that's adaptable to DJI drones. So now you can have an anamorphic lens on drones, which I think looks absolutely amazing. They just recently actually, I don't know if it's released yet because they have a Kickstarter going on for it right now. This is an established company, but for this one product, it's pretty expensive. You can imagine making market quality anamorphic lenses for a DJI drone. And they're adaptable. They're supposed to be adaptable for different drones, whether it be on their Mavic Airline all the way up to like the Phantom 4s and those higher qualities. But it's really brilliant. And Peter McKinnon recently had a video reviewing it. It's really spectacular seeing the direction that the tech in that area is going with cameras and phones and drones and all that integration. It's like people, you can spend maybe $500, essentially the equivalent on like a entry level DSLR, and just invest it into your phone, have a good case, an anamorphic lens, and a movie, and you basically built almost a Hollywood quality cinema camera. The only thing is that on a phone you can't really adjust the frame rate and resolution, which I don't know.
There's a lot of setbacks, but there's
but that's probably, that tech is probably around the corner. I mean, look how small GoPros are, and they've been able to do that for years now. I think it's only a matter of time before we can set your iPhone camera to 4K 24 frames per second, or at the very least like 1080 24 to 120 frames per second, 60 frames per second. Next thing you know, literally everyone really is a videographer, a photographer on their phone just because of Instagram. But the quality is going up there. So that was one recent. That was like one recent news that literally just came out the other day, and tech anyway.
It's amazing when you stand back. Me and you just look back at the past and see how far technology has came.
Yeah.
Remember when 300 megabytes was a lot?
Yeah. Now it's like not even.
It's like
a video.
That's not even. You don't have room when you use that.
Yeah, that's not really much of anything nowadays. There's other things that things are getting smaller and bigger at the same time,
right,
in terms of storage in comparison to hardware. Software is getting much bigger, hardware is getting much smaller. It's like this exponential growth. Can only imagine what's going to happen in the next several decades. It's crazy. I was thinking the other day about true wireless headphones, like how extremely common they are. So I just bought the new Beats, and they're great. I'll have a review video on all of these pretty soon. But in the process of doing it, so I'm doing a little bit of experiment. I bought like some of the highest quality of the Power Beats Pro, the new ones, and then I bought some like cheap like $10 wireless earbuds off of Wish. Yeah, as an experiment, why not? It's $10. And it's funny because they're basically just like the earbuds you would buy from like a gas station for $10, only they're true wireless Bluetooth. And it's like, wow, we're really at that point where wires are almost becoming primitive with anything. We don't even need wires for charging anymore, technically.
Yeah, there's a lot of wireless phones now. I believe the Samsung phones were the first ones.
Yeah, Samsung did that first, and that was already like 2-3 years ago. I feel like it wasn't that long ago, but I mean, if you really think about it, we're already used to this technology.
There's
we've already adapted to it.
there's a lot of things that people don't realize. It's well, hell no. Back in 2010,
Mm-hmm.
I bought a charging station by Energizer for the Nintendo Wii controllers.
Yeah.
Basically, they're rechargeable batteries.
Mm-hmm.
You pop them in, and then when you're done, let's say we're done playing the games for the day, you just set it on the little table, and it was
Right.
charging.
Yeah.
Back in 2010, that was almost a decade ago.
Yeah, man.
And then later we innovated to the phones, which are basically, like we said, 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah. I remember. I think I don't even know. It must have been 4 years ago, maybe, that I was looking at a college project, and don't quote me on this. I think it was, I think it was someone from the University of Michigan 4 years ago in their engineering program, probably in their industrial engineering program, that was looking at, theoretical ways to go about wireless charging, and this was 4 years ago. And I remember first hearing about that. I'm like, wow, that sounds absolutely revolutionary. Like, imagine, like how much that would save in convenience. And
I believe we always dream for wireless electricity.
mm-hmm.
I believe.
Oh yeah, we've been dreaming about
Thomas
this for
Edison?
decades.
No,
Yeah.
not Con Edison.
What?
No, Nicholas Tesla. There
Yes.
you go. He always thought about wireless electricity.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, for sure. He'd been theorizing about that for a good amount of his career, and that was
He
ages ago.
That was before we we had television.
Exactly.
That was around.
That was over 100 years ago, man.
Yeah, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Bread was sliced bread was not invented by then.
You're right, actually. You're absolutely right. That's a fun fact. What was it that Betty White is actually older than sliced bread?
But I think by 2 years.
By 2 years, but still, yeah, it puts in perspective. Like, oh wow, it actually is only that old.
Yeah.
Huh. We haven't really had it for that long, I guess.
Yeah. When I visited family over in Cuba,
Yeah.
they bought basically. You know how when you go to the store, you buy a loaf of bread and it's already sliced up.
Of course.
Basically, it looks the same, but it was uncut. I'm like, what is this?
It's a loaf of bread.
I'm like, I was used to like uncut bread, but it looks like exactly the ones that you buy at the store.
Yeah, it's just a loaf of bread.
Square, it's just you have to cut it.
Yeah, a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
Amazing, right?
Delicious.
um,
home country foods are amazing.
That's another thing. You ever? I don't know. It's funny seeing like our way of technological progress and cultural progress, but also seeing like so many old things stick around or even come back in terms of styles and tastes. You know?
Yeah.
You know, you'll go to, so like for example, I just watched Spider-Man Far From Home the other day. Yeah, when I was in Orlando, and I went to an SMG. You know what SMG is? It's a studio movie grill.
Yeah.
It's just like AMC, where they have the.
I always want to go one of those.
They're great.
Yeah.
Where it's you
order food and they'll bring it through.
Yes, yeah. It's a dine-in theater. There's other companies that do it. AMC has them now. Actually, there's specific ones where they'll do that. Where there's like Cinebistro, I think, is one that's been doing it for a while.
Yeah. The ones I always heard was over in Texas, Alamo Draft House.
Yeah, so there's a few different companies that are doing it now. SMG is just a bigger company for it now, as well as like they just have a really high quality for it, and they're getting a lot of good feedback from Hollywood, really.
Yeah.
And I remember I went in there for the first time. It's like, wow, this is a very millennial space because you walk in and it's like it has that kind of like futuristic but at the same time kind of rustic style where it's like you walk in, it's just wood flooring and what is it, filament bulbs.
Oh, God.
You know what I'm talking about, the rustic looking like cast iron type stuff, but at the same time they also have like the nice like clean glass and like a bunch of plasma screen TVs for the various displays, as well as they had their kiosks where you just buy your tickets yourself. There's like 3 people working there. Everything. So it's just funny how it looks futuristic and old at the same time because everything is automated, and there's like some a few modern styles implemented into the atmosphere, but at the same time everything looks old because you're walking in. It's like, oh, it's like I'm in someone's house from literally 100 years ago. Iron and wood flooring. The same thing if you go into the same place like Grain and Berry is like a perfect place. That's that same type of. And that's another thing is like it's that. I don't even like using the word, but it's like that millennial space where it's like
cultures change.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
Everything old is new again. It's this nostalgic aesthetic, and I'm kind of guilty of liking it, honestly.
I mean, I love.
In fact, they even make filament LED bulbs. You know about this?
Yeah, I saw them.
Yeah, they're LED bulbs that look just like filament bulbs, and they actually last just as long, if not longer, than regular dimmable LED bulbs. I remember that when I was working at AC, we were selling these, and it was the first time I saw them. I'm like, whoa, this is. I've never seen something that was so far into the future, but so far in the past at the same time. It's a cool thing, in terms of just modern technology and vintage taste. It's a weird mix that we see all the time now.
Without spoiling anything, what would you rate Far From Home?
How would I rate it? Ooh, that's a good question. Very highly, honestly.
For me, it was a solid 9 out of 10.
I think that's reasonable. It wasn't perfect, but I think this is easily one of the best Spider-Man movies of all time.
Yes.
I liked it better than Homecoming, personally. Homecoming was amazing.
I told our friend Richard, this is actually one of the first ones I've enjoyed. Mm-hmm. Both the I've enjoyed both.
This is a really well done young Peter Parker Spider-Man.
Yeah, because
really well done.
Because everything.
As well as being in the MCU.
Back with the other Spider-Mans, I've always dealt with back with Andrew Garfield. I preferred his Spider-Man, but I didn't like his
Peter Parker.
Parker, no.
Cool, right?
But then what was his other name?
Tobey Maguire.
Tobey Maguire. I preferred his Peter Parker, but not his Spider-Man.
He wasn't cool enough.
Yeah.
I get it. Tom Holland has a he's really done a great,
he's learned.
He's done a great performance, especially in this one where he's really fit into the role, especially with what they're trying to mold into the role. So, I feel like I'm not again. I don't want to spoil anything, but
right.
I feel like everyone knows that Tom Holland Spider-Man, the MCU Spider-Man, they're trying to make him almost into the new Iron Man, basically.
Yes.
That he's taking up the mantle. He's going to be like the new spotlight, or at least he's going to be one of the heroes that are going to be in spotlight for Phase 4 and even to the future. There's a theory that the MCU actually wants to give Tom Holland a trilogy, meaning he's not going to have 3 movies like the others. Right. He's going to have 9 movies.
I believe
they want to make a Spider-Verse within the MCU.
I believe Tom Holland one more recent interviews, there's 2 points I got out of it. Mm-hmm. He's like, if Disney and Marvel come up to me saying, "Hey, we would like you to renew your contract," he says, "I'll do it in a heartbeat. I'll do it until I'm the 80-year-old Spider-Man."
That's incredible.
And then
that's the idea that they want to do. So right now, they want to do a teenage phase Spider-Man.
Right, which we're doing it right now.
Right, and then they want to do college and then adult Spider-Man, and with that area, they'll bring in the other Spider-Man like Miles Morales, which is technically already canon from Prowler supposedly being in Homecoming, played as Donald Glover, Childish Gambino. So it's those little things that it goes into the long planning that they'll bring in later on 20 movies after, which I think is just amazing how elaborate it is.
From the movie Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, I haven't seen it, but I know
I haven't seen it either.
But from the same interview, I believe Tom Holland said, I actually have a cut Easter egg from that movie that was never put in. Tom Holland actually, basically, I guess it was towards the end of the movie, he was supposed to like pop in the background, talk to Miles Morales, like, "Hey, never mind." Because it was basically the other Peter Parker did his job, but this one was supposed to like mention something.
That was another thing. So, like, for example, in Endgame,
right?
I feel like everyone has already heard this, but I'm just gonna reiterate it. That there was one kid at Tony's funeral that no one recognized. That was the kid from Iron Man 3 that Tony left him the workshop.
Right.
And he can theoretically also become like a new Iron Man several movies down the line, I don't really know too much about that. But that's just a very far-fetched theory. That's definitely possible.
I don't
only
think
because of how far spread out the MCU, brings people in.
well, my theory for that kid is he's not gonna be the next Iron Man. I think that's gonna probably be Reed Richard for Mr. Fantastic, because it's a far fetch. But here's the thing,
I don't think they're gonna make this Mr. Fantastic into a new Iron Man only because.
Well, no, I'm not saying he's gonna be Iron Man, but he's gonna take the inspiration from technology.
Of course, there's gonna be a little. I guess there's gonna be a little bit Iron Man and Captain America and everybody.
Ew.
You know what I mean? Because there's this whole thing with the relationship that Spider-Man and the MCU had with Iron Man, and how Peter in this universe is take a lot of inspiration from Tony. I'm not gonna spoil anything, like I said, but there's a lot they already show in Far From Home that's to do with
from the trailer
thing. You already know from the trailer, but they gave even more in depth with it in the movie in ways that I personally did not expect at all. But it's really well done. It's not. I will say one thing. People are afraid that they're trying to make Spider-Man into Iron Man, and they conclude in this movie that that's not the case.
Yeah.
Spider-Man is still Spider-Man. But this is definitely a new take on Spider-Man that inspired from a lot of different comics, and it's also just based on the events that have already happened in the MCU and what they're setting up for the future. That this is going to be the best road Spider-Man can take in this universe.
The best way I can describe it is from Homecoming. Basically, Tony Iron Man is still being the mentor to Spider-Man.
In a way.
It's not directly.
At the same time, you definitely see, and we're going to see more of this, is that Peter Parker is supposed to be, and in this universe definitely is, a very dynamic character. We're watching him grow.
He's growing and he's adapting quickly.
Exactly. Like we're seeing someone who was new to the whole superhero persona type thing, starting back from Civil War and really growing into his own hero with his own purpose and his own abilities that are unique not only to the rest of the heroes in the MCU, but unique from any other take of Spider-Man we've had before, but still feels Spider-Man-esque.
Right.
Something that people, both comic fans and moviegoers, can really enjoy, I think. There are some things that I feel like are going to be very specific to this Spider-Man that we haven't really seen before, that maybe not be too tasteful, but I think is definitely good for the MCU. For example, how they make Tom Holland Spider-Man more of a... They've done a really good job of making him more a comically accurate Spider-Man, or like teenage Peter Parker, but they've also made it to where he's like, oh, this is Spider-Man in 2019. He has Snapchat.
Right.
You know what I mean? He wears joggers. So it's like, it's this medium that they found where he fits into
current age.
He fits into current age while also being comically accurate and fitting into the MCU. It's really brilliantly put together, I think. Which may be untasteful to some people if they really want like a more specific raw Spider-Man. But let's be real, Spider-Man was made in the 60s. That's not going to be the Spider-Man we're going to have today. Especially with how the MCU is today.
I believe even in the 60s, Spider-Man was an adult by then.
In the TV show, yeah, he was an adult.
He was an adult. He was working. There was no mention of high school.
Yeah.
He was technically living next...
Yeah, he was working with the Daily Bugle and being a delivery boy.
Yeah, he lived next to Mary Jane, so that's where we got the relationship from.
Yeah.
But, like I said, a lot of comic characters have evolved.
Yeah, the other thing is that what is great about comic books is that as long as there's some things that are faithful and well done and just overall quality of performance, we should be very open-minded, because there are hundreds of adaptations for every hero or villain ever created, which leaves possibilities for so many different types of ideas to take form, take root. The possibilities are limitless.
Right.
And so at times we really shouldn't
judge.
There's a limit. So at some point, obviously, it becomes too much, and this isn't what it's supposed to be. If let's say if Spider-Man was to suddenly have a new power, that wouldn't be Spider-Man anymore.
Right.
But if we're able to alter Spider-Man in a way that he still has the same values and the same powers and the same face, um, uh, he or in the multiverse, she can also um, play different parts, or they can serve different purposes or have different tastes, in ways that this creates more possibilities for the character and for the story. So where everything stays fresh and we can have new ideas being introduced to the same old story. That way we're not seeing the same old story every time, but some things are kept faithful enough to where we can recognize it. And that's one thing that's always been done in comic books, and that's one thing we should accept in film, I think, when we see comic book adaptations. Because that's always been like a problem with comic book fans. Being a comic book fan, I felt this way before, but like comics constantly change anyway.
Yeah.
I remember thinking back when like how crazy it was when we first saw uh, Captain America um, as part of Hydra, and how like, oh, that's stupid, it doesn't make any sense, it's like completely against its code. But
It's possible.
But it's possible, and it also ended up being like a really just overall cool idea of a story, and
Right.
and it just being a really good story because it was well done and it was still faithful to some parts of the original character. And that's what we're seeing now in the MCU is that there's slight changes that, yeah, it's not exactly it's not a direct copy of the original comic, but some things are kept there, and new things are introduced in ways that we should appreciate it.
Or like where we got the Batman from the Flashpoint Paradox. We didn't know it was.
Exactly.
We
Yeah,
didn't. We
that's a
didn't.
perfect example.
At the first point, we didn't notice it was a different Batman until he pulled out and killed a guy
Yeah.
straight out.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, "Wait, this is a different Batman." Then
Yeah.
we're explained, "This is not Bruce Wayne. This is Thomas Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
Joker's not Archie, James, or whoever is embodying him."
Exactly.
Um, it was
And,
basically
and those are just perfect examples that like things are going to change as long as certain things are kept faithful to where it's recognizable. We should be open minded to different adaptations. I think.
For me personally, I see Batman as the most adaptable character for different situations.
Yeah.
Because he has no power. That's where you can understand. But when we mention changes to people who have powers, people start getting offensive.
Yeah, of course, because that changes that changes the basic element of the character.
Right.
Right. Like it wouldn't make any sense if suddenly Captain America can breathe fire. That's just like whose ass was that pulled out of? That doesn't make any sense.
Or here's a sudden change that people really didn't notice. One of the taglines for Superman is he can leap single buildings in a bound.
Yeah, entire building in a single bound. Yeah.
Back then, he didn't fly. He could literally
he just jumped really high. Yeah.
He can jump very far.
That was like in the very original Action comics.
And then
I think like the first couple episodes of
and
the
now,
animated series.
Now Superman, he can just fly anywhere.
Yeah, he can float. He's like Goku. He can just be there.
He just does that.
Yeah. That's funny because I remember with Man of Steel, and I don't want to get into Man of Steel because that's a whole controversial topic. Is the DCU? I don't really want to talk too much about that on this episode anyway, because I don't even think we have enough time for that.
No. And there's one small point I want to get to.
But I remember in Man of Steel, I thought they were going in that direction because they did the whole scene with him like jumping and trying to fly, but he couldn't fly. And then later in the movie, he's just floating. He's like, oh wait, well, they just threw that part out. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I guess.
Yes, whatever. But what were you to say?
No, it's not on this topic. Over the last couple of weeks, at work, I've been listening to different podcasts, and then there's a report I've been hearing out of South Africa.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love how we're just going straight into this, but
sure, why not?
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's totally sidetracked. That's okay. You don't need to do like a whole transition or anything.
Yeah. What I was saying was, South Africa, they're having a water crisis, where basically clean water is becoming harder and harder to get their hands on.
Right.
Right now they're limiting people 13 gallons a day.
Oh my god.
But they have a thing. There's a thing called the Day Zero event, where basically it's the point where water gets so rare that you're limited to 7 gallons a person.
Whoa.
Per day.
7 gallons a person per day.
That's in South Africa.
Who needs that amount of water?
re- people. Because
7 gallons a day.
7 gallons either for cooking, cleaning,
Oh, okay.
washing, drinking.
I understand. Okay. No, I see what you mean. Okay.
Yeah, that's
Okay. That can get scarce at times then. Yeah.
it's
Especially.
very scarce.
No, yeah, I
It's
understand. Okay. I thought we were talking
um
about drinking water for a second. I'm like, wait.
well, no,
But no, okay, 7 gallons a day to like just as far as living purpose. Okay.
living purpose entirely.
Yeah, that is very scarce.
That's
Yeah.
basically me going up to he's like, here's $20, make it last 4 weeks.
That's insane.
Like 4 weeks.
Trying to make $1 out of 15 cents.
Yeah. Basically, this day zero event is a example of what could happen down the road, where more cities can run out of water and we won't notice.
Wow.
There's also the same report that Alaska hit 90 degrees.
What?
Anchorage, Alaska hit 90 degrees
Oh my
a week ago.
God.
Madrid,
What?
same time Madrid was 106.
Oh my God.
Here's the thing.
And then like what? Just the week we were feeling like it was like 110 due to the humidity.
It was actually 95 degrees real temperature. Humidity plus
It was like 80% or something. Like that.
it was 80%. The heat index boiled over to 110.
Yeah.
A lot of people saying, oh, everyone's like, oh, that's not bad. That's not bad.
It's terrible. Are you kidding me? It's a warning.
It's because here's the thing. I'm able to handle 104 degrees dry heat.
Yeah, it's different with the humidity at that
Humidity,
level.
your body does not know how to react because
It's like you're boiling.
your body's
it's like
like
in a sauna
your
all the time.
because your body's like there's
It's a
too
workout.
much moisture in the air that we can't produce sweat.
Mm-hmm.
It still does, but it's not enough because the heat is just boiling even harder.
Exactly. You feel hotter than it actually is.
I mean, there was days where I was texting Chris in the morning like, "Take water, please, for the love of God." He's like, "We have water there." I'm like, "You need more."
We have like 30 gallons in that little office in there because of the.
You work in the pool.
Yeah, we do work at a pool.
Yeah, so
I don't get to go in that pool most of the time anyway.
other than if they're dying.
Yeah, and I don't want to do that. That's the whole point. People are supposed to follow the rules, so we don't have to save them. We're there in case something serious happens. Like, let's say if a lap swimmer suddenly has a seizure because that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, dangerous stuff. Swimming's dangerous. It's fun, but you know.
It's fun. Yeah, it's fun. Especially
That's why I get paid.
I get paid to stare at you.
That's why I get paid $10 an hour, so that way people can stay safe.
Yeah.
But, yeah. But yeah, it's these levels of heat are absolutely insane.
Because here's the thing, Europe is a lot of people's like, so what? Europe is dealing with 90-degree weather and stuff. They're not equipped for that. Because
I don't think it's normal.
Europe.
To be fair, I've never been to Europe, but
I believe Europe sits around max 80, 70 degrees during the summers. Most houses over there don't have air conditioning.
Oh my God.
Most of it's furnaces just for the winter. Because remember,
right.
they got a lot of snow over there.
Absolutely.
So when it's like, hey, it's 90 degrees in Paris. What do you mean? It's 90 degrees. Eventually, the heat is going to get too much that... Here's the thing. A lot of people are already saying we're already in a climate crisis.
Mm-hmm.
And it's true because at this point, it's, like I said, it's far too gone that we can do anything about any of it.
Right.
We can slow down how bad it can get.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna take some miracle technology to reverse it completely.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's also just it's the living habits of the masses.
Yeah.
It's a lot of factors that are affecting this. A lot. Whether it be our rate of pollution due to our use of power or transportation or just eating meat. It's a lot. It's a lot of different factors.
Hell, at my job, before I started working there, they were telling us they just finished upgrading the factory floor, including the actual building itself, where all the air conditioning, all the condensation is collected, and they use it for the machines that they filter it, and they use it for the machines to clean.
I see. So they're like recycling
condensation.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's pretty innovative.
And then I believe this year they're also
consistently clean.
Yeah, and they're replacing the old AC machine with more efficient ones.
Right.
Even though they're still going to produce condensation, I believe they're also going to add more. Actually, no, we just got a new client. I can't say their name,
Sure.
but the client is actually they build solar panels on hills.
Really?
They're you know how most solar panels, solar farms are on flat land.
Mm-hmm.
They actually have the technology that it's able to adapt on rough terrain.
Wow. So they can like put these at different angles for mass efficiency.
So yeah, so we can so technically they can put it on mountains and stuff, and they'll auto adjust. To
Whoa.
so as soon as it's sun up, the solar panels adjust to the. They always get 100%
That's
efficiency.
nuts. So that's almost like so they're basically integrating the type of technology that we use for solar power plants for mirrors
Right.
into the actual panels to put on highlands.
Yes.
That's pretty innovative.
Especially with
It's
Florida
pretty
where we get a
incredible.
lot of sun and
Even on hills, but yeah, absolutely.
yeah, but it's great for like Virginia.
That would also make it better in theory for putting solar panels on buildings in the future for urban areas
Yes.
to have more efficient power.
Uh,
That's pretty incredible. That's a big step in a good direction for sure.
a lot of people saying how come Florida doesn't have a lot of solar panels? It's still new to us.
It's expensive.
It's stupid expensive, but a lot of things that people don't realize is because just because we put it on the roof doesn't mean it's going to be 100% efficient.
That's absolutely true because we also have overcasts.
We have overcast and plus um my stepfather worked on the solar panels up in Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
No, Minnesota.
Oh, okay.
The only reason why they're so hard to also put is because you need space under them to cool down.
That's right. Yeah.
And with Florida, the heat does it after a while.
It's unforgiving.
It's not. It
Yeah.
actually eats the solar panel, and then the wires are ineffective.
Yeah. So we need to have some really efficient cooling systems to have them more common down here.
Yeah, either we have underground cooling, which that exists,
Uh-huh.
or
Or there must be like independent cooling for various setups.
because technically solar panels are 100% efficient
Yeah.
during winter
Mm-hmm.
because they're cooled constantly.
Yeah.
Summer they're ineffective. They're probably down to 75% efficiency.
Mm-hmm.
It's really amazing how solar panel works.
Yeah. There were also there is also this other tech that's going in the works. It's actually it's been worked on for quite a few years now. It's man, I can't remember what type of energy it's called, but it's almost like imitating photosynthesis. Like
Yes,
you
I've
know what I
seen
mean?
those.
In fact, I think Tesla's working on this at the moment, where they have it. Well, Tesla wants to integrate it for homes, so people can buy it as far as like an independent way of powering your house rather than paying energy bills.
Yeah,
And let people save money and power, or even sell their power, which people are doing in Germany.
I also believe Sweden. I believe 2 years ago they produced so much power that they actually paid the
Yeah,
people that were using the power.
exactly.
They're like, here's $100 back. They're like, what?
Yeah, people were making money for how much power they were saving and even making just in their own home,
Yeah,
rather than having to pay bills for power plants. People were able to sell their power to businesses. People that are using high demand because people were just having these basically miniature power plants in their homes when they're say at work, no one's home, all the lights are off. The only thing that's running in the house is maybe air conditioning, and even then is probably at a lower setting. That's a lot of power being stacked up that people can just use for their community.
for me, I was also thinking down the future if I ever wanted a Tesla.
Mm-hmm.
The best thing I would do is I'll get the Tesla battery pack, the the backup battery generator,
Mm-hmm.
and then just have it. I don't actually connect it to the actual power of the house. I'll just have it
Right.
charging on its own
Mm-hmm.
using its own solar panel, and then
Yeah.
charge the vehicle at night.
Mm-hmm.
That's why even if I had the money, I wouldn't even buy it yet
Yeah.
because I need these extra things, so I'm not using power from the house.
No, yeah, you would get a lot more value out of it. The other thing too, though, is that those batteries, Tesla doesn't have patent on those anymore,
No,
and other companies, such as Honda and Volvo and Ferrari, are already making their own basically copies of Tesla. Electric is becoming more and more common. in the next decade or so, every company's gonna have their own line. Most likely, every major auto company's got their own line of electric sedans and SUVs, and we're probably gonna see is energy companies, either energy companies or fuel companies are probably going to be investing into charging stations, because we're going to be seeing less and less gas stations.
Yeah.
More and more people are going to be driving electric cars, because it's just going to be they're eventually going to become a lot more affordable. People are going to be saving a lot of money just charging cars rather than buying gas and buying gas cars, because I mean the Model 3 is already at market value, comparable to saying buying a new sedan from Ford or Chevy. It's right within that price range.
Remember when we went to the Tesla store and we asked them a base price? Mm-hmm. I believe it was like $70,000 just with nothing. It's just a vehicle.
But that was for the Model S, was it not?
I believe it was a Model S.
Yeah, that's the luxury. That's the one they released before.
Yeah.
The Model 3 is the new
newest one.
That's the economy value sedan.
Yeah, they're like, it brings nothing, no Bluetooth, nothing special. It's just the vehicle.
Right.
But if you wanted more extra items, it bumps up the vehicle value, of course.
Of course, yeah.
But that was back a year or two ago.
Mm-hmm.
Now, again, technology increased, more readily available.
Yeah.
They also have their own factory in Watts, Nevada.
Right.
Where it's called I believe it's the Gigawatt Factory, which is the entire roof is only solar panel.
I like how they try to go about all this different wordplay with their marketing, or just like overall with their design.
Remember, we're talking about Elon Musk here.
Oh my god.
Where he has a company called the Boring Company.
Yeah.
And basically, he had a snail race it.
Mm-hmm.
Snail won. But yeah, it's like again, with going back to what we were talking earlier, technology has basically evolved faster.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like I said before, I don't remember ever hearing about a supercomputer being available. There were
supercomputers and quantum computers.
I meant quantum computers, because they're back when I was a kid, they were theoretical, because computer power was insane just even thinking about it then.
Yeah.
And now these computers are constantly evolving themselves, updating, being more optimized. Mm-hmm. And the best way they cool it down is with lasers.
Yeah, I've heard about that too.
Yeah, it's laser cooling because...
That's crazy.
Because...
lasers were something of sci-fi not too long ago at all.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, pew pew. Dead.
I mean, obviously we're not thinking about that, but there actually also has been some development of like actual laser weaponry, but that's something that's extremely expensive and really limited to like pretty much our military and maybe Russia.
I also heard that there's a new technology the military's been working on, where for I believe 200 meters, they're able to recognize you by your heartbeat.
Whoa. Serious heartbeat scan.
So like you can have your face obscured, like that's Chris.
What? That is absolutely insane.
Because every person has everything is unique to a person, from their brainwaves to their electric rhythm in their heart.
Whoa, you just blew my mind. Wait, so they've essentially developed like a scanner for this?
A long range scanner.
To identify someone by their specific individuality.
By their bio. Yeah,
they can tell who they are.
Yes.
That's absolutely insane.
And that's what they told us.
Wow. So what we don't know. What are they working on? That is crazy.
All I know is they're turning the frogs. Yeah, I'm joking. But it's insane. It's really insane. Again, technology is...
Are you getting hot?
It's kind of hot in here.
I was gonna say.
But we're
saying earlier, but
we're almost done.
We are.
But
I'm on right now.
I think I'm actually feeling my age now. I'm young, but here's
what does that mean? You're 20. What does that even mean? You feel your age?
Because I have a little sister. She's 5.
Yeah.
That's a 15-year difference.
Yeah, it's a big difference.
And then when I look at her, she's actually faster on technology than me.
How so? Elaborate.
She can easily use a tablet faster than I.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's.
It's
We're seeing a lot of that now, where this type of integrated technology is becoming the norm. We see it in kids. My younger cousins that are like 7 and 9 years old, they have their own tablets, and one of them can pick up my Nintendo Switch and play it, without me really explaining too much.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I'm at that age.
Yeah.
Because I'm starting to see how my parents felt. It's like, oh, he knows how to play the Xbox like nothing now.
Yeah.
And then my little sister like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. I'm like, I beg your pardon?
Yeah, because what it is that this is becoming we've had this technology long enough now to where it's become integrated into our culture.
Yeah.
It's become something that's just a regular skill. At least for most people of our generation, basically anyone between the age of say 5 and 50, 60, knows how to just pick up a phone and start using it.
Yeah, it's
as some people get older and older, maybe they're a little bit behind because they're not really keeping up with things or they don't really care. You see less of that with older people. People that are much older, say like 70, 80 years old or older. They're not concerning themselves because they're retired. They're maybe not keeping up with everything, and they're just going about their life day to day. I'm not going to get too far into that, but yeah, I mean, we see that all the time where. Certain habits are becoming a lot more common with people, and yeah, tech is just one of those things where someone can just pick up a phone and start using it, pick up a tablet or a computer, and computers have been long enough to where people. I mean, we were doing that. Think about how long you've been using a computer. You've been able to use a computer probably since you were like 6.
Yeah,
exactly.
But it's well over a decade. I know how to use a computer.
Meanwhile, like our parents were just first learning about computers when they were in high school. And so they were first using them probably when they were working in college.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, with us, I mean, this is something we've had all of our lives. That's really what defines a generation, is what separates them with what they're exposed to. And your sister generation, it's all there.
Yeah,
it's just the norm. I mean, at least we were old enough to see this become a thing, like see smartphones be developed. Because when we were kids, when we were her age and even a little bit older, they didn't exist. They started in 2007. We were 8 years old when the first iPhone came out.
One of the first phones were like a Nokia I had.
Yeah. No, the first phone I had was a Motorola Razr. It was a flip phone.
My second one was a Samsung phone, and it basically was the best thing I ever had. I'm like, nothing's gonna top this. And then the second.
And then next thing you know, it's it.
And I'm like, this fucking phone doesn't start.
Yeah, and things become obviously so much faster, and
like I said,
and soon. I mean, who knows what's be the next thing? We might be seeing holographic computers soon enough, and that might become a thing where we just have holographic integration rather than just touchscreen integration. And they'll probably start with something. They'll probably start with computers and then move on to gaming consoles and move on to tablets and phones, and the next thing you know, it's on your fridge.
Well, I mean, that's already there.
It is, but no.
You can text your fridge now and ask, "Hey, do I have any eggs at home?"
No, I'm talking about like what let's say if augmented reality is the next thing, for example.
Yeah.
And what if that becomes something that's just projection, or something you just need like a pair of glasses for? It's probably start with computers, and next thing you know, like a couple of years later, or at most, it's going to be on your fridge, where you see. Not only can you like text or voice command your fridge or TV or your stove or grill or whatever, it'll have like a 3D projection of whatever food is in there, or how long it's been in there, what's the expiration date or estimated expiration date when you bought it, or whatever. Everything is going to be integrated based on whatever's based on whatever's first introduced to a computer, and then if it's usable, it's going to be adapted to anything else. It could be adapted to your car, or
this also goes with the same conversation I had with you the other day about AI with the deep fakes, where it's basically the same technology I used to use for my basically photos for profile photos
Yeah.
are being basically used for live videos, and they work within a couple hours. Like, hey, I can recreate. There's a video that just came out where someone took the scenes from Shining and perfectly put Jim Carrey's face on all of Jack Nicholson. And it's
crazy.
It works. It looks perfectly. I'm like, it's
seamless. Yeah.
It looks like Jim Carrey did it, but he didn't.
Yeah, it's crazy. And that can apply to so many other things. We should talk more about this next week. We're already over an hour in. But yeah, we got a lot going on. It's also because we haven't done this in 2 weeks, and we're just rambling on, getting caught up.
Our old man speech.
But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. We should be back next week as usual. Let's try to get Jim Carrey on the show. But not before we get, Matt Mercer and Matt Damon and Matthew McConaughey. Let's get 3 Matts on the show. But if we get Matt Damon, we also get
Matt. We got Matt Damon and
we got
Marky Mark.
Marky Mark. We got Mark Wahlberg. Yeah, those 2.
The first thing I'm gonna ask.
What?
How's your workout?
Pow! All right.
What was it? It was Master Flex or something?
I don't remember, man.
Flex Master.
Anyway, we'll see you all next week.
Bye.
Thanks so much for watching.